Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another book recommendation video, and this time I'm going to be talking to you about some romantic suspense recommendations. I'm going to be talking about 3 different series in this video just because those are some of my favorite romantic suspense series. So without further ado, let's just talk about the books. Okay, so the first 2 series that I'm going to talk to you about are series that need to be read in order. They follow the same people throughout the whole books, all the books, and so they need to be read in order. The first series is the Insiders Trilogy by Tijan. I feel like I've talked about this series quite a bit, but this is the series that got me into romantic suspense, so that's why I am constantly recommending it. I feel like they make really good audiobooks for like people who are just starting to get into romantic suspense. It also really gives off mafia vibes if that's something that you really like in romance books. This one definitely has those same kind of vibes, although I don't think it is technically mafia. So basically this follows Bailey and Cashton. Bailey is a genius. She is a computer whiz, and she has grown up with her single mom, kind of struggling and just like getting by day to day, until one day she gets kidnapped by these 3 guys and is extorted for money, and that's when her mom finally tells her who her biological dad is, and it's actually someone that Bailey has heard about and has been a huge fan of. He is like a tech billionaire. He created a like hacking system that the government ended up buying from him. So I think that's how he made his money. And Bailey has wanted to be been wanting to work for him since she started coding. So she finds out that he's her dad, and it's a huge shock, but her mom is like, you have to go live with him because he's the only way that I know you will be 100% protected, because he's got the means and the money in order to keep you protected. So she ends up going to live with them and her family, and it's a whole new world for her. And she also gets to meet Cashton, who is sort of a family friend, but also a personal bodyguard. So he's assigned to protect Bailey. And obviously it is also the bodyguard trope. It's not super steamy. I think it gets a bit more steamy as the time goes on, but I don't know. I really liked this whole series. It is very much like it gets like crazier and crazier as the series goes on, so I don't want to talk about any more because I don't want to like spoil anything that comes. And I was like binging this series. If it had all been out when I started it, I would have probably finished all 3 of these books within a week. They make great audios, and I just highly recommend this series. I feel like no one ever talks about them, so I am gonna constantly talk about it. Okay, the next series is the Mindfuck series by St. Abby. This one is very popular for a reason. It is so bingeable. You could sit down and read all 5 of these books over the course of a weekend. I personally have not done that, but that's not to take away from how good this series is. It's just that for one reason or another, I always put it down, but I started the audios for these, and they are so good. I definitely recommend the audios, even though these books are short. If it's something that like you don't read a ton of like physical copy books, or like our eyeball read a ton of books, you prefer things on audio, they are on Scribd, and I highly recommend the audios. They are super twisted. This whole series is very twisted. It basically follows Lana, who is a serial killer. She has a dark past, and she's basically out for revenge on all these people, and that's who she's killing. But she meets the lead investigator, the lead FBI agent on her case, and they end up falling in love. So she has to keep it a secret that she is who this person is, while also continuing to get revenge on like horrible, horrible people. So it's not like she's just like a serial killer for the sake of it. These people deserve it. Honestly, I know she cannot be the judge, jury, and executioner, but she is in this. And it's so good. It's like, it's got everything. It's got the romance that honestly is very insta-lovey. So if you don't like that, I don't know, but like it's just so good. It's so addicting. It's so addicting. It's so fast-paced. If you're not hooked by like the first chapter, honestly, like the first chapter should hook you. The first book definitely will. And it just gets even more crazy after that. Okay, and the last series that I want to talk to you about is obviously The Edens. I love these books by Daphne Perry. They all have really good romantic suspense. I think the romantic suspense element sort of is strongest at the beginning and then a little wave tapers off, but the romance is stronger in the later books. Whereas, so it sort of balances it out throughout all the books. I have not finished this series, so I can't speak to like all of the books, but for the first one, this one follows Winnie and Griffin. Winnie moves to town and becomes the sheriff of their town, and she ends up having a one-night stand with someone she thinks is an out-of-towner, and it turns out to be Griffin, whose family basically founded Quincy, Montana, the town where all these books take place in. So, and then on top of that, there is a murder mystery that Winnie has to solve and sort of connects back to her own family. So it is really good. The next one is Juniper Hill, and this one follows Knox and Memphis. Almost forgot her name for a second there. Memphis comes to town and works at the Eloise Inn, which is also owned by the Edens, because she needs to get away from her town. She just had a newborn baby, so she moves into the garage above Knox's the apartment above Knox's garage because she needs somewhere to stay and does not have a lot of money. So Eloise asks super nicely her older brother if Memphis can live there so that she can hire her as a housekeeper at the inn. And like Knox has his own history. It's so good. The romantic suspense element really only comes in at the end for this one, and I don't want to say what it is just because I want it to be a surprise. I think it works best as a surprise, so I won't say what it is, but just know that like those last 50 pages you are going to be just like flipping through it real quick to figure out what is going on. And then I'm also finished Garnet Flats, so I'll also talk about that one. This one follows Talia and Foster. This is a second chance romance. They were together when they were, I guess, when she was in like undergrad for school, and he is a boxer, and they meet at a gym, and immediately like they have been dating for over a year when he finally tells her that he's going to end up marrying her best friend. And so he comes back 7 years later begging for her forgiveness and trying to explain what happened. This one, again, I'm not going to say the romantic suspense element just because I think it works best as a surprise, but I will say it does sort of have to do with like mafia underground fighting. And this one is just so messy and angsty, and I loved it. I ate it up. This one has some of the lowest ratings of the series, and I have no idea why, because I loved it so much. The angst, so good. I will say I don't think the romantic suspense element of this book is quite as strong as the previous two books, but the romance definitely makes up for it. I loved the second chance romance, and he's a single dad, so love that. Okay, and those are the 3 romantic suspense series that I'm going to talk to you about in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave in the comments down below one of your favorite romantic suspense books, because I've really gotten into them lately and I just want more to read. I've heard really good things about Catherine Cowell's series, so if you read any of those, let me know what you thought of them in the series, because I think I'm wanting to pick them up soon. And that's the end of this video, so subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up because it really helps support my channel, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.